blue sky. Searching for future vision, covering up one eye. Flip the switch on this retro brain fry. Strap yourself in for the ride of a lifetime.
All right, people. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. It's about 11 o'clock, 11:30 on Saturday, the 26th. Um, there's been so much going on that I didn't want to do a Codex report without having my facts straight, and um, so I was holding off. This is going to be the report for Friday. I'm going to try to do another couple of them this weekend. So this one is going to be pretty much about Fukushima. Um, they finally have electric hooked up. They're trying to be pumping water. I don't know how well that's going to work for them because, like people have been saying, they pump salt water in there for days, and when it's 800 or 1,000 degrees in there, you pump salt water in and it evaporates, and what do you have? You have salt. So you have this crust of salt on probably pretty much everything in there. Um, when they went down into the basement of reactor 3 to try to hook up something, um, they they irradiated 3 of the guys that were down there so badly that they had pulled them out. They 10,000 times normal or something was one of the reports. Um, there needs to be there needs to be well, first people need to realize that they keep trying to compare this to Chernobyl, and there's an element to that, but this is so much worse. Um, you may have the entire northern half of Japan uninhabitable for the next several hundred to 1,000 years. I mean, the the toxicity of the particles that are coming out of those reactors is bad enough, but the fact that they have lied and let people stay there for 2 weeks is ridiculous. Um, these people need to be held accountable. Uh, there's another estimate on the wave height, and I think this was from Ofunada. I think that's how it's pronounced. They estimate 77 feet, and that's a six and a half, 7-story building. I mean, it's at least a 6-story building. I mean, most people can't even conceive of that. I mean, some of these big wave riders, the surfers, they understand what it's like to have a wave like that coming in, but most of them don't even surf waves that big because they're, I mean, it's it's the whole situation is just insanity. And as far as this idiot over that in England is saying that build more reactors because this proves how safe they are, he needs to be fired and he needs to be thrown in jail because that is it's just asinine. It's okay. I'm going to rephrase that. He needs to be fired. He doesn't need to be thrown in jail, but that would be a nice place for him because this guy is just an idiot. And by saying things like that, he is harming people because what happens if we get another 9 and it slams into the coast of, say, California this time. Or what happens if it slams into the southern half of Japan this time and it wipes out a reactor down there. The whole island of Japan is going to be uninhabitable. What's going to happen to the Kamchatka Peninsula, which is just north of Japan? What's going to happen with the Kuril Islands, and up in Alaska. Um, it's just so bad that you know most people I think are still in denial, and I don't know what it's going to take to wake them up, except looking at some of these videos, and I'm gonna have my friend help me edit one together and show a comparison between a diagram of the building and the way the building is, after the explosion, and you're going to understand and you're going to be able to see that there is no possible way that that reactor core is intact. Um, the entire like top 2/3 of the building is just gone. I Unless the reactor is half buried into the ground, which I don't think is the case because there has to be a lot of things underneath it, and they have a water table to deal with there. It's I'm gonna try to get that to you guys in the next day or two here. So moving on, the radiation that is coming out. They so far have only talked about the iodine, the cesium, and some of those elements. Um, there was a neutron beam observed 13 times, and this was from like Thursday. They were talking about it 13 times, and the only time that you have a neutron beam being displayed at that type of a incident is when that there is fission or fusion type of reaction going on. Fusion, not fission. The the government needs to stop lying to us, and all of the governments. And like I said, I'm not gonna specifically say that the Japanese government or the United States government or whatever, but all governments are guilty of this. You need to stop lying to the people because finally I mean it's to the point where no one is believing you anything you say, and I'm not even gonna get into Obama and the whole fiasco with what this idiot's doing, um, but you know the the situation in Fukushima is so bad that the entire world needs to be doing something to help save everyone because that's what it's coming down to. Um, the situation over there is so bad. I mean, I like I said earlier, people need to somewhat stop comparing it to Chernobyl. But the one thing that they they do need to think about as a comparison to Chernobyl is when they went to go and clean up, they had to pick up all the parts of the radioactive, you know, debris and go and bury it. You know, with the size of the explosion on the reactor 3, there's going to be radioactive material that's miles away. And the bigger pieces, yeah, I mean anything down to say a half inch in size, yeah, you're going to be able to go around and literally just pick that stuff up, throw it in a wheelbarrow or whatever, pick it up with a shovel or whatever, and go and bury it. But it's all of the dust particles and everything else that was totally irradiated and is either bonded to or whatever other radioactive particles. That is the main danger, and that's the problem. Like I said in a previous video, they're going to have to go through, and they're going to have to kill cats and dogs and um, I don't know if there's much for sheep over there, but goats and cows and anything that has been exposed over a certain time frame because the hair uh, becomes deadly. And if you don't, then you have the problem like they talked about with the liquidators in Chernobyl. It has to be done. There's no alternative at this point. You know, yes, it needs to be entombed, but how are you going to entomb 6 reactors? How are you going to entomb even just that the 4 reactor complex of the main section that where the ones are the most damaged? Now they're talking about there's smoke coming from reactors 5 and 6, and I actually haven't even heard anything about um, Diana or Diani, the other nuclear plant that got hit. Everyone is so focused on the Fukushima Daiichi plant that they're not even talking about this other one. And yeah, I just remembered it. I need to go and look and see what's going on with that. But like I said, this it's just so bad that the entire world needs to be involved in trying to help the Japanese people to deal with this. And the response has been so slight that um, honestly, if I was Japan, I would dump everybody else's stocks and bonds because they haven't helped. I mean, literally, why? How can the United States expect Japan to not dump the U.S. bonds when the U.S. is not helping with the greatest catastrophe and nuclear accident that's happened in modern memory? Not to disparage Chernobyl or the other nuclear accidents or um, the Indonesian tsunami. I mean, those were horrible, but the combination of what's going on right now, it's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. It is evil in its purest form because millions of people will probably die if this is not fixed very, very, very soon. I mean, it needs to be done. They should have been started to um, shut down and enclose the plants within days, and it's been 2 weeks. I mean, literally, it within 3 days of number three exploding, they should have been trying to put in place um, security barrier or something to entomb that reactor facility. That they have not is criminal, and um, there's you really need to just watch everything. I'm just gonna say this again. Go and watch Glenn Beck. Go and watch Alex Jones. Go and watch, check out Jeff Rentz's page. Just if you have to go and sit and take 2 hours and just go and search through, a couple of hundred or 100 different stories and articles to try and figure out the truth, you need to do that because you need to figure out for yourself what you need to do. And um, like I said, you need to keep an open mind and you need to just search and keep reading and keep digging, and eventually the truth is going to come out about this. And I think once it does, heads are going to roll. And on that note, God bless the people of Japan. Um, God bless the Fukushima 50. My thoughts are with you. I'm going to be trying to set up um, something for that. And yeah, everybody have a nice day.